Katie and I have been speaking throughout the summer and preparing for the summer messages with sharers. I was happy to help out. And in chatting about this message about letting your light shine in dark places, I began to think about who, in my experience and conversations, who might be good to share this experience with us. And I am so thrilled that my friends Denise and Allan have agreed to join us, agreed with some encouragement. There might have been an extra glass of wine in there to get them to agree to this too. But I want you to know that, a lot of people will know who Allan and Denise are. Pearson, last name Pearson. Joyce, if you're out there, this is your boy. Not sure if your mom's here today. But I can tell you that if you've ever enjoyed a fellowship meal at this church for just about any event, I can assure you that Denise has had far more than just a hand in it. She is the one who's got this radar on the top of her head for when cookies, fantastically delicious cookies, are needed, and an extra pair of hands and a heart that will make a table look so special that you feel welcome and loved every time you sit with her. So she is the epitome of what would be, my friend Margaret reminded me, she's a silent servant. But this is not going to be quiet today. And so I asked them to come and just share with us a little bit of their experience. So Denise, I just wanted you to talk a little about your role at the Carpenter Hospice. You volunteered there for a while, so if you could just give us an idea of why you're there and how that came about.
I had a good friend in high school, or from high school, that had been diagnosed with terminal cancer and had hoped to be at the Carpenter Hospice, or a hospice, and that wasn't able to be done. She died before our Carpenter Hospice was built, but she was able to go to the hospital because she did not want to die at home. She had raised 4 children there, and that wasn't the place she wanted to be. But my mother had the good fortune, as she would say, I'm sure, that to go to the Carpenter Hospice in her last days. And it just struck me as a really wonderful place to be, and just really struck a chord. Soon afterwards, I asked if I could start volunteering there, and they welcomed people with open arms. But I really, really feel like I found my niche. I started off doing, I think, in the kitchen. And then I think I graduated to reception. Not that it's graduation, it's just, getting your fingers in all these different pies. And then I asked if I could be at the bedside, and they granted me that wish. And that's absolutely a real blessing for me. I get more than I ever give. I don't feel I give anything, but I'm just so privileged to be there.
I'll write this down. The thing that in conversation with Denise about this, you've told me on more than one occasion that it's actually, in her humility, that's typical response from Denise. I get far more than I give, but it's also been a time when you've had a chance to feel like this is actually how you were made to give, and you've talked to me about that was. I'm going to let you finish because I could just keep talking because we've had lots of conversations about this.
Well, I guess I do. It took me a long time to figure that out, that I thought this is what everybody did, given the situations. But I understand that it's possibly not. I think having done the spiritual gifts many, many years ago at the church helped shed light to me that my gifts that I kind of slough off are truly spiritual gifts, and there are of value in doing Jesus' work and being his hands and his feet and his words in the community. So
that's right. Yeah, no mean feat. I know many people will say to Denise, I don't know how you do what you do. And of course she goes, that's what you do. Mm-hmm. It's not what all of us could do, clearly. So we're very grateful. And as I know the families are too. And Allan, though you're also a quiet server, maybe not silent, thank goodness, but Allan, you've served in lots of roles at the church, on the board of trustees. I think I bent your arm on that one too, a little to get you to do that, and the chair of finance. But I remember the first time, one of the early trips to Mexico, to Ensenada for mission work. And I saw Alan's name on the list, and I thought, ooh, I wonder, does he know what he's signing up for? And I did begin to pray right away that this would happen, because I thought, any day now it's going to dawn on him what this is going to mean, and it'll be, I'm way too, because you are way too busy. You are very busy, and you do a lot of things. But something in you made you put your name down and sign up for that. So I started to pray that this trip would come to be, and that it would reveal something to you. And we didn't know each other all that well at this point. And you walked right up to me on the Sunday morning after the trip and said that was one of the most important things I've ever done. And I just wonder if you can speak to that a little bit about your memories of how you were used.
Yeah, I got to go twice. The first time I went, as Tori said, I signed up and didn't really know why. It sounded like a good idea at the time. And closer we got to the date of leaving, the more I thought about it, and I thought, what am I doing? I don't necessarily think this is a good idea. I'm going to Mexico, which isn't really the safest place in the world. I'm going to build a house. I don't know the first thing about building a house. I'm going with a bunch of guys I really don't know, and we're all sleeping in a dorm. And if anybody slept in a dorm with Orville and a few other guys that remain nameless, you know what kind of an experience that could be. Sleepless nights, yeah. Well, I'll just send money. I won't go. I'll just send money. That's easy. And but I made the commitment to go. What's the worst that can happen? If I don't like it, I'll get in a plane, come home. No big deal. So I went, and it didn't take me long to realize once I got down there that building the home was just part of it. It was about building relationships with the guys that I went. I met some great guys, got to know some great guys that I have a ton of respect for. Got to know the family that we built the house for, and share with them. And so that was kind of cool. I remember coming back from that trip and saying exactly that. I've been on some real nice vacations, but that was certainly one of the best that I was ever on. And if you could call it a vacation. And second time I went for a different reason. I knew we could build the house. That was easy. So I went this time to enjoy the family that we were building the house for and get to know them. And it worked out really well. I got to know Francesco and his wife and two daughters really well. We got to spend a lot of time together. I realized that basically we have a lot in common. We both have a wife and a couple kids and a home, and the only real difference between Francesco and I was that I was lucky enough to be born in Canada. And that ultimately was the only difference. And I remember coming back from, I think it was the first trip, I learned something about myself too. I learned not to sweat the small stuff, the day in and day out things that bother me or get me upset. And, at the end of the day, they're really not that important. And I remember that I think we went out for dinner the night we got back, and it was on Montana's, and standing in line, and the lady in front of me was complaining that it was going to take 20 minutes to get her table. I'm thinking, my goodness, is that all you got to worry about is 20 minutes to get a table? There's people that be lucky if they eat tonight. And so that's, anytime I get stressed out or things start to bother me, I just take my mind back to Mexico, and those things don't seem that important anymore. The other thing that I learned was that, and I've had people say, well, why would you go to Mexico? What are you going to do down there? Build a house for somebody. That's not going to change life. It's not going to change things. But I disagree. I think that, when you go down there, you're providing three basics of life: food, shelter, clothing. You're giving them a leg up, giving them a chance to have a home. I mean, these people live in anything from pallets piled up with a tarp over top, and that's their house, to an old trailer with no windows or doors. And you're giving them a home. You're giving them somewhere that they can feel safe and secure. They actually have a door, let alone one that locks. So we are making a difference. We're changing their family tree. We're giving them a chance And we're also letting them know that there's people in the world that do care about them. So I've certainly enjoyed both times, learned from both, and maybe one day I get to go back.
Thank you both. Thank you.